Good evening and welcome to the CCC Board of Trustees Candidate Forum hosted by the Coffeyville Area Chamber of Commerce and our partners. We'd like to recognize our Platinum and Gold members who help make events like this possible for our community. Platinum members for the Chamber of Commerce are Acme Foundry, Community State Bank, John Deere, 5 Star Auto Sales, Coffeyville Family Practice Clinic, the City of Coffeyville, Coffeyville Regional Medical Center, Community National Bank and Trust, Liebert Brothers Electric, Coffeyville Journal, Coffeyville Resources, Sleep Inn, Security First Title, Muller Construction, Cherokee Casino South Coffeyville, and Commercial Bank. Gold members for this event are Asbury Village, Coffeyville Community College, Coffeyville Doctors Clinic, George Realtors, Jensen International, Medical Lodges, Midwest Real Estate, AT&T, Atmos Energy, and Walmart. We want to make sure that we thank our sponsors and thank them for making this event possible. Each candidate tonight will be allowed a 2-minute answer for each question and a 2-minute closing speech. In an effort to allow the candidates fairness, we will take turns rotating the questions as to who answers first. And audience members are encouraged to submit written questions. When submitting written questions, simply raise your hand. Ms. Stacia Meek, the Executive Director for the Coffeyville Area Chamber of Commerce, will provide a card for you. You can write your question down and submit that to Ms. Stacia, and we will ask the candidates those questions as they come in and as time allows. My name is Yvonne Hull, and I will be your moderator for this event. We want to thank each of you for being here. So with that, we will get started with our first question. There are 3 candidates we should make note for the CCC Board of Trustees. Ms. Sherry Melander is not able to join us tonight, so we will be asking questions of Lou Barndollar and Keith Osborne. So if you all are ready, we'll be ready. Okay. So first question, we want to get to know you a little bit. So how long have you been a resident of Coffeyville, and what do you believe is its best attribute?
Well, my family moved here when I was 3 years old, so I've been a resident of Coffeyville a long, long time. I think it has many attributes, and of course, the greatest one is its people, because I think we have a very friendly town, and I think people that have come from that have moved here will say that, and I think that's just wonderful. And it's not true of all towns, so it's especially nice. The other thing I think is a wonderful attribute is its history, because Coffeyville has a history that is just worth preserving, and that many, many people know about Coffeyville because of our history. The Dalton Raid, people think it was bad to commemorate the Daltons themselves, but that was a very historic time in Coffeyville, and we have people come from all over the world that want to tour the area of the Dalton Raid. Same thing with the Brown Mansion. That's the 2 extremes of early day Coffeyville there. We have the Wild West, and we have the very wealthy entrepreneur, William P. Brown, and everything in between. Anyway, I think it's a wonderful town, and best of all, it's a wonderful place to raise a family.
As far as being a resident of Coffeyville, I have been in Montgomery County for about 25 years and spent about half of that time as actually a resident of the city limits of Coffeyville. So been in both areas. When I wasn't in Coffeyville, was in rural Montgomery County, south of Tyro. I have a farm there. As far as the greatest attribute, I would say we have some very long-term employers in the area. The refinery, Acme Foundry, John Deere, Funk, various names, but some of them have been around for quite some time, small and large. And we've seen a few come and go as of late, but the long-term ones have stuck with us, and that's very critical to the economy of Coffeyville, and so that's one of its great attributes is those long-term employers. And coming with those then is a lot of opportunity and some very long-term employees that work for those folks. And that's, as Lou says, it's a great place to raise a family, and it's because of those issues.
We'll be sharing the microphone. All right. So what do you believe is your greatest strength and how will your being elected benefit Coffeyville Community College? And Mr. Osborne, we'll start with you.
I think probably one of my greatest strengths is I'm fairly well-rounded. Educationally, I do have my master's in business and a chemical engineering degree. Besides that, I've been in the business and industry in the refining sector for 34 years, 35 years, and I spent about 16 years of that as an executive level. So I've been through that side of it. I have raised a family, and both of my children came and went and graduated from Coffeyville Community College, so I have that aspect. And as I said earlier, I'm also a property owner and a resident of the county, and so I have that side of it. So I feel I represent a lot of different interests in a lot of different ways, and can balance those once against the other to try to make the right decisions.
Well, I have my greatest strength, I think, maybe, is that I'm pretty darn conscientious. I do read all the things that they give me to read as I get ready for the meetings, and I ask questions, and I am really, I think I become an informed board member. As far as my background about that, I do have a bachelor's and a master's in English, and then I have a education specialist degree in the community college. So I have the background studies, anyway, of what it takes to make a community college be successful. Let's see, what was the rest of the question?
Question was, what do you believe is your greatest strength, and how will your being elected benefit Coffeyville Community?
Okay, I think I can benefit the community college because I am absolutely convinced that the community college mission is an important one. I did teach there for 20 years before I became on the board, and I've seen student after student after student who would never have survived had he or she started at a university, but yet they've gone on and gotten degrees and advanced degrees, and it's all because we are affordable, we offer quality education, and we're accessible.
Excellent. Thank you both. So employers are constantly saying they are struggling to hire skilled workers. What are some specific ways that CCC can partner with the business community to address this issue? And Ms. Lou, you're up first.
Well, we're very excited about partnering with employers. In fact, that's our biggest thrust right now, I would almost say, because we've done all this with the technical school. But we have the new building, which Yvonne works, and she's so good at getting grants written for us and things like that. But, for instance, the reason we have a nursing program is because CRMC came to us and said we really need more nurses, and so we have a nursing program. The city came to us and said, we need more linemen, so we have an electrical lineman program that we work with Pratt Community College. We had a workforce development thing just going on that was 6 weeks of training that was to help people fit the potential employees fit with the jobs that were out there. We have a construction technology program that's going great right now because you can see it in the Habitat for Humanity house that's being built on 8th Street. So we're just doing everything we can to partner with all the employers.
Mr. Osborne.
Well, one of the great ways is that the business and industry are quite involved with the college, and they're great supporters of the college. And from that perspective, the college benefits greatly. And as such, the college is quite open to their input as to what they do and what classes they offer and what curriculums that they incorporate. And that's been going on with, as Lou mentioned, the new training center. There's been OSHA classes, HAZWOPers coming, forklift training. A lot of local skills training, and that's specifically brought to the college through request by industry, and they hear it and have moved towards doing those things. So the college is open to ideas and suggestions, and they have an open ear to those that want to communicate.
Next question, and before we ask this next question, just want to remind you, if you have questions that you would like to ask of Keith and Lou, be sure to raise your hand, and Miss Stacia will get you a card so that we could get those in the mix. There's been some discussion at the state level about reducing the number of community colleges in the state. What would be your argument for Coffeyville Community College remaining as an educational option for Southeast Kansas? And Mr. Keith, I believe you're up first.
Well, one of the things is we've already demonstrated as a college the ability to handle some consolidation through what used to be VOTEC school and now the technical training areas that have been incorporated into the Coffeyville Community College. So we've shown that ability as a college and through the staff and leadership there to incorporate that. And the other thing is that as a local community college, and as we just discussed in the prior question, it's quite open to input from local business and industry. And I think that's very, very important for the college, but it's very important for the local business and industry and what it can bring to us. And so keeping the community college here and supporting those businesses is very important. And if anything, we just need to continue to leverage the assets we do and start to reach out farther and reaching out and supporting the college and other communities.
I agree with everything Keith has said, and I do think that the technical aspect of the college is one of our strongest arguments about why CCC should remain. If we have to have just one community college in Montgomery County, that it should be CCC. The other side of it is that CCC is not only, we enroll more students, we graduate more students, we actually have less tuition and fees than ICC, and we are just, budget-wise, we are a much stronger college than ICC. And, of course, ICC would be the one that they would want us to consolidate with. And I don't have anything against ICC, but I believe CCC is by far the stronger school. And we have, working against us, we have the fact that a lot of the political people are from independents. So there's always going to be a problem there. But I'm convinced that we want to continue to do everything we can to maintain our strength as the stronger one.
Excellent. Thank you. Next question. Why are you running for the CCC Board of Trustees, and what do you hope to accomplish if elected? And Ms. Liu, you're first.
Okay, well, this is not my first term on the board, so I can tell you what I wanted to accomplish when I first ran, and this sounds silly in a way, but these were things I noticed that needed to be done. One thing, we had no real parking by the theater, all right? You had to drop people off on Willow Street there or over on 11th to get to the theater. And actually, a former dean of the college was killed trying to cross 11th Street to go to something at the theater. So I just said, we need to make parking available there, and there was a little space. Well, there was just argument. You know, we can't afford to do that. Of course, it was a different board when I came on, too, and we just can't afford to do that. We can't afford to do that. And I finally said, well, we will do that. We've got to, because I campaigned that we were going to do that. So we now, as you know, do have a parking area in there. Took me about 6 years to get it done, but I did get it done. The other thing was probably not as significant at all, but Phil Kinley, 445, we've got a wonderful swimming pool there. And at that time that I came on, CCC was not using that swimming pool at all. And I said, we need to cooperate with the City Rec and with 445 and have classes in the swimming pool. I don't think I've gotten classes there yet, because you have to always have a teacher that can teach something there. But I do know that we have city student activities there, and they'll have swimming parties and things like that. So those are the two things. Right now, I mainly would like to see us continue. I'm very, very pleased with the board we have now. I think our staff is excellent, and I would like to just continue on the path that we're going.
Mr. Keith, sorry.
Well, unlike Lou, I'm a fairly new member of the board. I was actually appointed to finish an unexpired term a couple of years ago, so this is my first actually attempt at being elected to the position. But I've had 2 years of learning about the college in a different way. As a board member, you learn a lot more details and a lot of different things than you do just as a community member. And so I've been learning for the last 2 years, and I need to put that learning into full use and practice as I go forward, and that's my goal. I've got a lot of background, as I've discussed, about business management and skills, and the whole goal is to set policies for the school and some of those things, but it's really about supporting the leadership of the school and the employees there, the resources they need, working through the budget, and the various things so that they can be successful. And that's our responsibility, is to help them be successful.
Thank you. Okay, let's step out and ask a little bit about the community. If someone asked you what kind of community is Coffeyville, what would be your response? And Mr. Keith, you are first.
Well, it's a diverse community, and it has been for most of the time, from way back in the Western days all the way to today. And it's diverse in a variety of ways, ethnically, financially. And so what we have is a diverse population that the community college needs to serve. And so in the Coffeyville area, and one of the things that we struggle is, retaining people in the area, retaining our population. That's why it is critical that some of the long-term industries continue to do what they do, and we need to continue to bring some more in that will be long-term. And so it's a diverse population that is struggling, in all honesty, right now with retention of population and to make things financially feasible for the whole county. And so that would be my response.
Ms. Lou?
Yeah, read the question once more if you would.
You bet.
What kind of community?
If someone asked you what kind of community is Coffeyville, what would be your response?
Well, Coffeyville is one of many small towns in Kansas that has been shrinking, all right? Actually, when I was in probably junior high here, we had about 15,000 people, and now we have a little bit less than 10, I believe, all right? Part of it is because of the economy in general. Part of it is because all small towns are shrinking. I heard one of our representatives make a speech Monday. I went to a conference, and he said that when it comes to the legislature, 3 counties in Kansas have enough votes to outvote all the rest of us, all right, because people are moving into the metropolitan areas. And, of course, that means, right now there's we're an agricultural economy in this area, and we have a lot of oil industry. So industry and agriculture are big things here. And we've always been much more of a working town than some of the other towns around us because we are fortunate to have these industries. Some of them have been here 100 years, So we are diverse, as he says, and we also have a large black population. And because of that, I know at one time we've tried to get black teachers. And we've at one time had 2 black teachers. We couldn't keep them because they moved on to somewhere else where they would have other educated people that they could be with. But anyway, it's a wonderful town, but it does have a lot of shrinking problems.
Okay. The next question is, describe 2 actions Coffeyville Community College can take to reduce the tax burden of this community.
Okay. Well, we used to get about 50% of our funding from the state. Now we get less than 20% of our funds, 18% exactly of our funds from the state. So guess who has had to pick up the difference, okay? The local taxes and the students and then other little things that we get money from. To reduce the tax burden, okay, well, one way we could do it is increase student tuition and fees. Okay, well, that's not a very popular way when you're trying to get students to come. Another way we could do it would be cut programs. Well, that's self-defeating because you need those programs for the students to be interested in to come. So it's a really tough thing. Of course, you can legislate, but we don't have much voice in the legislature really down here in Southeast Kansas. So I would say that we, some years ago, really trimmed our budget. We had to let some employees go, but we really put ourselves back on a very, very tight budget that I think has been successful. So we're doing the very best we can. Mm-hmm.
Well, in addition to some of the things that Lou's referenced, I think, to get away from some of the unpopular items she mentioned, you have to look at, okay, what's the next option? And that would be to leverage the assets we do have. Make sure they're fully utilized as much as possible. And that's everything from personnel assets to physical assets. And so, like the technical training that we've talked about and some of the things we're doing there, we have a building and an asset. And the more we can use that and leverage it, the better we will become financially, which, offset the costs. And then we need to continue to try to grow programs that are less expensive to fund, whether it be vocal, music, band, those kind of things, where versus when I first started involving the college, around 1990, some of those things have shrunk a bit. And those are types of programs that you can leverage up and increase population, which brings in tuition and fees, but don't have a lot of costs associated with that growth.
Okay, the next question is, what do you think the role of a CCC board member is, and what will your duties be? And Mr. Keith, you're up first.
As I mentioned briefly earlier, we're primarily a policy board to set policies and make sure that the school follows those. And we actually, in all honesty, only have one employee, and that's the president of college. Certainly, then our role is to help that president as she manages the leadership and the staff and everybody else. And we certainly are involved in approving a lot of things, but the real job is to support and provide the resources needed for the leadership of the college, from the president initially and then on down from there.
Keith has expressed it exactly well. By Kansas statute, we're a policy-making body, and we have one employee. We can make policy and try to see that it's enforced, and then hire or fire a president, and that's it.
Okay. Well, we have one more question. This is our last question. You guys have been very speedy. Unless there are any questions from the audience, again, we would welcome a question from the audience. What do you believe are the top 3 issues facing the junior college, and how do you propose to address them?
Okay, well, first one is certainly funding. All right, so that's we would address it by the ways Keith has mentioned and I've mentioned. We want to strengthen what we do have. Okay, and we have to 3 ways we can what? Tell me again. 3 ways.
What do you believe are the top 3 issues facing the junior college, and how do you propose to address them?
Okay. Well, the first one has to be the issues about funding and the decrease in the state revenue. Okay, and the ways that we can address that would be increase tuition and fees, which we don't want to do, or strengthen the programs that we have. All right. The second big issue is going to be this consolidation issue. That's definitely a threat, and I think can address it best by being the stronger of the 2 colleges here, and of course with all the technical programs that we have. The third issue, I think, we just had a visit from the Higher Learning Commission, and they come every so many years and look at every aspect of the college. You have to prepare this huge self-study so that everything you look at your strengths, your weaknesses, and how you're going to deal with them. Anyway, after their visit, I became aware that they are requiring more and more and more paperwork of everyone. For instance, in a typical classroom, you have to assess, and you have to assess at the first of the class. You have to keep assessing through. You have to track, and you have to prove that they have gained something in the class. And then you have to use what you've known of that to correct your curriculum. And it's a good process, but it's just a lot more additional paperwork for teachers that are already pretty much overburdened. So I think that's going to become more and more that the government's going to require, or the Higher Learning Commission is going to require all this additional work. And so like doctors who have all the new things with Medicare, they've got to hire somebody else to take care of all the paperwork. So.
Well, with both of us being existing members on the board, it'd be kind of strange if we're totally different than Lou's. But so my first one is financial as well. We've talked about some of the things that we can do to try to lower the tax burden and whatever. The state continues. They reduced our budget just a couple of weeks ago, 2%. There may be another 2% as far as what they're providing. And so the financial side of it is a challenge for us, and it's critical. The forced consolidation is one that we are concerned about and aware of. If it were done in the right way and the right reasons, not politically, there might be some good in that. But to do it just without all that is questionable. So my third one, to pick something different at least, was, and I don't say that it's an issue, but it is critical that we hire and retain good employees and good staff. Once again, we can provide all the resources, but at the end of the day, in any company, any business, any industry, just about, it's the employee, whether it be the person on the line or out in the plant or in the office or whatever, they run the business in reality. They're doing the work. They may have a lot of tools and resources, computers and whatever else to help them, but at the end of the day, it's somebody that's actually running and doing the work, and it's critical that we do retain good staff and employees.
Well, I am moderator, so I'm going to take a little note of discretion here and ask one other question. As both of you are current board members, so we'd like for you to share with us what is your greatest achievement or proudest moment by the college during your time on the board, and what are you excited about for the future of the community college? And I put you on the spot, and Keith gets to go first. You're welcome, Mr. Osborne.
You're not as welcome, Miss Yvonne. Well, the Higher Learning Commission, as Lou said, was just here, and so one of the questions they delved into quite a bit, and as I understand it, some of the luncheons that were held with community, et cetera, they really tried to focus in on athletics versus academics, okay? And so what's the right balance? And I think I'm proud to say, and what I'm most proud of, is both are very good at Coffeyville Community College. Yes, our athletic teams do very well. In this last fall, 52 of those members of the different teams made the academic list for the Jayhawk Conference. We have approximately 38 people at the national track meet right now. So yes, they're very successful, but they're also successful in the classroom. They're successful, many of them, when they leave the 2-year school and go on to the 4-year school. So I think I am proud of our balance between academics and athletics and our success in both.
Well, I started out by saying how convinced I was of the importance of the mission of a community college, which is to be affordable and accessible and quality education. And so I think I'm proudest of the fact that I think we have all three of those. And in addition, we offer many opportunities in the community for lifelong learning. And I think that's very important. It's much more important in a small community than it is in a great big city, I think, because as people come to the college, whether it's for a theater presentation or whether it's to see a basketball game, they meet other people, they develop a sense of community, and of course they develop a wonderful feeling about Coffeyville Community College. And I was going to say, it just occurred to me that all through my years with the college, my proudest moments always were when my students did well, and my proudest moments were when my grandchildren or children and grandchildren did well and at the college. But I'm going to say it has to be a drop-down moment when our college just was donated $1 million to strengthen the college. So I think we have a great college, and I'm just very, very proud of all of it.
Excellent. If there are no more questions, no further questions from the audience, or we have completed our questions that we had scheduled for this time, so we will now allow Mr. Osborne and Ms. Barndollar to have their 2-minute close. And so they have 2 minutes to share whatever you'd like to share. The floor is yours, and we will start with you, Ms. Lou.
Well, I've been talking constantly about what I thought about the college, so let me think about what else I can share. One thing that came out in the 445 earlier talks was about the skill level and about ethics and about character. And I think that all education is really about building character. When you're teaching someone to read, and they read about, in the very low level, you read about sharing in kindergarten, but that's what you read at a higher level too. When you're teaching Moby Dick or something like that, you're not only learning about literature, you're learning how people through the years have coped with adversity and dealt with it in very good ways. So I am convinced that. And I don't mean particularly formal education, but being an educated person is the way to strengthen our community, way to strengthen our nation, the way to strengthen our world. And a lot of that is common sense, and somehow along the way, common sense doesn't seem as common. But I think that's really vital, and I think Coffeyville Community College does about as good a job as anybody, better than some universities with about common sense, because the people that come here usually have more of a rural background and, have their head screwed on right. So it's a great place.
Well, I'll take the opportunity to do a small sermonette, and that is that, from one of my philosophies is integrity. And you have your integrity until you lose it. It's yours. And it's yours to lose or yours to keep. And I hope that I have maintained my integrity, and I hope if you talk to the people and the employees and workforce that I've been associated with, that would be the case. The second piece of that is respect. You don't have respect. You have to earn it. And so I would hope that I have also accomplished that through the various levels of the company that I've worked for. So I think those are both critical elements to any successful person in their career and in society. And maintaining those are critical and developing it. So I hope I've done that. I think I've explained that I'm fairly well-rounded from a business, education, personal property ownership standpoint to represent a broad spectrum of folks. And so that's why I feel that I meet the qualifications that people would want as a board member for the Coffeyville Community College. And so I would just say I would appreciate your vote, and go Ravens.
You've got my vote. I tell you.
And I'm sure both of our candidates are excited that we're done early. The Ravens do play tonight at 7 o'clock. I know that's a shameless plug. Sorry about that. For those of you that were not able to join us, you might share with your friends that this event was recorded by the Coffeyville Community College Digital Communications program, and we appreciate that and thank them for that. Be sure to thank our sponsors. If you're out and about and you see or know someone who works at one of those facilities, make sure you thank them. And on behalf of the Coffeyville Area Community College, we thank you for being part of this. Thank you, Mr. Osborne and Ms. Barndollar, for joining us tonight. And we look forward to seeing you in the future and encourage you to get out and vote.